Fine Old Joke, number 454, by Dan Crawford. Things can always get worse. Frank was called into the boss's office and told, "We've got to send representatives to two of our clients. You're the senior in your department, so you get to pick. Do you want to see our client in Bozeman, Montana, or Miami, Florida?" It was winter. Frank said, "Miami." The boss said, "There is a catch, though. We only have enough money to pay for the airfare of one person, and we figured the trip to Miami was going to be so cushy, we're paying for the trip to Bozeman. So you're going to have to pay your own airfare. However, I can get you a deal on that because our client owns a little air taxi service that can get you from here to Miami for $25. Do you want to try that airline, or do you want to go with a mainstay airline?" Frank said, "Well, I'll take the $25 fare." So on the day he was to set out, he got a cab, took his suitcase, and drove way out into the sticks, and was let off at this little bitty building, where he found 5 chairs, all occupied by furtive-looking characters who were looking over their shoulders. And he went up to the counter and explained where he needed to go. And the woman behind the counter said, "Well, we've got 2 planes that are ready to go to Miami today. You can take Josh's plane. This is his first flight for us, and he's never flown to Florida before, but he's a good pilot. Or you can go with Henry, who's been handling our trips to Florida for the last 25 years. So Frank took Henry's plane. When the call came to board, he and all the other guys in the depot walked out to the planes carrying their own luggage. The other guys went over to this shiny plane where a young man in a spiffy uniform was greeting them and ushering them up the stairs. Frank went over to see Henry, who was leaning against a kind of beat-up old tri-motor plane, polishing off the last swallow in a glass bottle. He threw the bottle under the plane and looked at Frank's ticket. He said, "All right, we can go, but I understand the weather is going to be pretty bad. Now, we could fly down there, or you could stay the night at my place. You bring the booze. I'll order a $2 pizza from Ranch Wagon." Henry said, "No, I think I need to be in Florida tonight." So Henry took the plane up. He said, "By the way, there are 2 parachutes back there. Packed them myself. They both worked last time I used them. If anything does go wrong, you grab one and jump, and then I'll follow you." Frank didn't think this boded well, and the weather was pretty bad, but they got part of the way all right, when suddenly he looked out the window, and a big gust of wind tore one of the wings off the plane. Henry said, "Well, that's it. It's been nice knowing you. You go first. Grab a parachute." Frank looked at the 2 parachutes. One was stained and torn and had a little bit of the silk sticking out at the seams, so he grabbed the tidier parachute, went to the door, thought about it for a second, realized he had no choice, and jumped. We started pulling on the ripcord, and the ripcord pulled right off. He looked up in the air, and he saw the parachute billowing out of Henry's backpack just before the wind carried Henry off somewhere. And Frank tore at his parachute, and he could not get anything, and he finally cried out, St. Francis, save me!" The clouds parted, and a hand reached down among the lightning and caught Frank in the palm of a gentle hand. And then a voice said, "Was that St. Francis Xavier or St. Francis of Assisi?"